welcome to episode 4 of the Rugby League United Podcast, the sport's biggest names discussing their life, aspects of their career, aspects too of their mental fitness. We're going to focus a bit today on adversity, building resilience when we go through tough times, which unfortunately we all have to do in life, and a little bit on perception as well. In the company of one of the best wingers in the game, England's all-time top try scorer, currently, I was going to say living it up in Australia, but reclining in Australia as it looks. Ryan Hall, how are you, first of all?
I'm very good, given the circumstances. There's a lot to look forward to over this side of sports. Kind of gathering more momentum than it is doing in England over in Australia. So there's quite a lot to look forward to. I imagine it's a bit of a different place, a bit of a different experience, what I'm experiencing to what a lot of people are doing in England, because the numbers obviously surrounding the whole pandemic thing, it's very different. England's got really, really high numbers, and Australia's just got low numbers, and it's really well monitored and looked after. So hopefully it stays that way. That's why things are relaxing quite well over here.
Yeah, do you think it would be different for you if you were back here? I mean, I'm speaking to you from Manchester and you're in Sydney.
Obviously, I'm keeping tabs quite a lot on England. I've got family and friends over there to see how's going on, and look at all the news and what's going on and stuff. And it's quite polarizing. They're trying to really slowly relax the lockdown over here, and they've been really cautious about it. And I think England's going along at the same pace as well, which I can't quite understand because the numbers are very, very different between the two countries. But I'm not a politician. I'm not a world leader or any health expert. So not yet. So I'll let the experts sort that out.
Just what I find here, days of lockdown, whether they're hard or easy, a lot dependent on the weather. I'm looking out today. The sun's actually out in Manchester, so I know today's going to be all right. But what's it like over there?
Well, when did we start? Was it March? So the back end of summer, we had the back end of summer, and it's just gone into winter now. So it's actually started being a bit colder. But in the early stages, in the sun, it was pretty good because we've got a balcony and we've got the sun pretty much all day on this balcony. So that was it was no problem.
Has this strange period, been a good thing for you in a way? We're going to talk about adversity and resilience, and your career was just kind of perfect until a couple of years ago, and then you've been dealt a lot of tough stuff to deal with in a quite a short space of time, which we'll come into. But has this, in a strange way, given you that chance to get back up to speed in terms of fitness?
It's hard to say because there's that so much disappointment going on in the world at the moment, but it's been a blessing for me. Like you say, we'll get onto it in a bit, but it was coming out of the back end of pre-season, and because of my injuries or whatever, I couldn't actually get the work done that I needed to do, fitness-wise. So when the game started playing again, I reckon when my knee was good to go, but the rest of my body wasn't. So the time off where everyone kind of reset again, I just powered through, and we had I got all my fitness equipment delivered home, so I could just smash the fitness best I could every day. It's not the same as doing rugby training on the field, but I was catching up. Every day that was going by, I was catching back up to the lads who had got to a good level of fitness. So now we're back in. I'm training full time. That's good.
So it's almost like this has allowed you to hit the pause button on everyone else's fitness. It's like, right, when we take pause off, I'm going to be back up to your level, because your fight isn't only fitness, is it? It's getting into that squad which you've fallen away from because of what's happened.
It's a different. I'm playing a different game to what I've done the majority of my career. I fully understand where I'm at, and the injuries I've been dealt, it's kind of pushed me out of the team, which is rightly so. And the team that I'm playing at the moment has been very successful, and the players that are playing in my position, that they finished the season brilliantly. So I've not got no worries about me not playing, because I'm there to facilitate a team, and if the team's doing well without me, there's not much I can do apart from prepare the best and just be ready for whenever the team needs me.
So there's a bit of realism there. Does that I don't know how you are with self-doubt. On a previous episode, we spoke with Rhys Lynn at England and Wakefield, and he said he's always been had a real problem with fear and anxiety and self-doubt, because even when he got the call from Wayne Bennett saying he was in the England squad, he didn't believe it. He's like, I'm not good enough to play for England. I mean, does that, looking at those players that you've got to fight back from injury and try and get past, does that make you doubt yourself, or are you just kind of, oh, this is how it is?
I reckon if I was how many years younger shall I say? 13 years younger. If I was 13 years younger, that might come into it. But because I've been around for a long time now, like you say, I've played for England for 40 times. I've got 40 caps. I'm well experienced, and I know the journey of a rugby league player. I didn't have to experience it, firsthand, because I was pretty much like I've selected, the majority of the time at Leeds. But I've been around players who've been in the position that I am now. So I didn't, just because I didn't experience that firsthand, they're not playing, doesn't mean I don't know, what to do. Because even in my first year, it was in 2007, the team got to a grand final. I was 18th man.
Right.
I was, playing the younger, so I was sat on the sideline in the blue shirt. And last year, the team got to a grand final, which we won, and I was 18th man again on that day. I've been around rugby league, quite a while now, so I know how to conduct myself and what to expect. Did
you deal with that Sydney one better? I don't want to dwell too much on Leeds because me and Danny Maguire wax lyrical for our whole episode. I don't want to bore non-Leeds fans throughout the whole series of this. But did you deal with the Sydney one better than the first one because of your experience?
Yeah, I just think because I was I'm a bit more mature.
Right.
Look, it was the first real injury I got. It was not funny at all, but it's funny how it happened. It was a big decision for me to leave, Leeds, a successful club, and I've been there for that long. Everyone just expected me to be a Leeds, stayer and play all the way through. But the time was running out, so there's a bit of thinking to do. And when I actually, I signed for the Roosters, I thought, big emotional change and all that sort of stuff. Then 3 weeks later, still playing the season at Leeds, I did my ACL. Probably the worst thing you can do to your knee. And it's the first operation I've had that I had playing rugby. So I've played all them games and all them years at Leeds pretty much unscathed. As soon as I decided to have a big change, it was literally 3 weeks after I signed on the dotted line that I did the ACL.
I remember.
So that was odd. So I didn't know any other way to deal with it apart from just one foot in front of the other. Just keep going. I've seen other people have the operation, do the injury, then have their operation, come out fighting on the other side. And when I spoke to the coaches and all the staff at the Roosters saying, "No, I've done my ACL." They put me at ease straight away. They said, "Don't worry." They pretty much said, "Don't worry about it. We'll get you through it." They've had a couple of their players go through the ACL repair, and they've come out, still playing and they're still international quality players. So don't worry about it. We'll get you right. So that phone call that I had straight away put me at ease, and I didn't really have to battle much. I just had to get on with it and just do the rehab.
I was going to come on to later that period of that hugely unsettling period of leaving Leeds and all the injuries, but I mean, you've got into it so nicely now. We might as well discuss it a bit more now. A bit more what that period was like. It must have been. It's such a hugely unsettling thing anyway. It's not like you're signing for Salford. You're with no disrespect to Salford, you're making a massive decision to relocate your family, and then bang, you must think everything's gone up in smoke when your knee snaps like that.
Yeah, it was a weird weekend because I did it on the Friday. All the physios knew, but they wouldn't verbalise it because until you get the scan results. They did the hands-on test, when they test the leg, but they didn't want to say to me when they were testing it, "You've done the ACL." They just said, "Oh, don't look good, but we'll wait for the scan, results to come back." So they all knew that were going on. And at home, when I was sat waiting, for the results to come through, bit of a strange period because a million things going on in my head about what we decided to do, all the family sort of things. But like I say, it was all sorted out within an hour. As soon as I got the results, I got straight on the phone saying, "Look, this is diagnosis. It was literally sorted out. My mind was, put at ease. All the, like you say, the upheaval of my family. But that was actually, I wouldn't say that was a negative decision for me. It wasn't one of those, when I was a bit like, oh, it's a bit risky. I was moving my family from Leeds, from rainy Leeds, to living on a beach in Sydney. Yeah. And that was always going to be a positive change. It was never going to be a negative change. So I was like, I couldn't wait. I was just, like, for the lifestyle thing of doing the best for my family, I couldn't wait to, get over here. And it's, from the lifestyle side of things, living in Sydney, it's great. I mean, how good is it? I go pick my kids up from school and then carry on in the car for 5 minutes, and I get to the beach and just play cricket on the beach. You can't do that in Leeds. You can't put you can't put a valuation on that. So
yeah, but it's
so that side of things. It was an easy decision.
You say that, but it is. I mean, on the face of it, absolutely right. What kind of decision is that? But it is still stressful. If it was that straightforward a thing for us to do in our life, we'd all do it, wouldn't we? It's just easier just to carry on in our life and not get out of our comfort zone. Something must have happened to make you think, right, let's get out of the comfort zone for a bit.
Probably the what do you call it? Groundhog Day, maybe.
Right.
But I'd done it for 11 years.
Light bulb moment.
Yeah, I've won the championships at Leeds. I've played the 35 game seasons before. I've done it. I've done it a few times. I've been successful doing it as well. I mean, it's great having success, but there's a bit of a balance, like a tipping scale. It's like, what do you want, success or a new challenge? And I thought I don't know how much more I was going to achieve by doing the same thing. So it was my first decision to go. It was just a bit of a. I just went to go see. Sorry, my daughter just walked in. She wants something.
That's all right.
Oh no, she's been ushered out of the room again. Oh no, she's been ushered out of the room. She's gone. So what I was saying about the tipping scale thing. It was about the new challenge, and when I wanted to move, it wasn't just right. I want to go and do this. It was just a curiosity to see if any clubs in the NRL would want to take me on, being at the age that I was, and all that sort of things. And a few clubs came back, and the Roosters were one of them. It was one of those moments where it was like a golden opportunity, got placed in front of me. I would have been mad not to take it, because the prestigious club, and they're very well run, they're well coached, and it was to carry on a learning curve. It was a great step for me to do.
But why do you think that light bulb moment didn't happen earlier? Because you didn't need that final season at least to win something else, because you'd already won everything. So, and you would, I'm sure you would have had offers from like Sydney and stuff earlier on in your career. You probably did, I don't know, but that opportunity must have presented itself before, and you didn't make that decision.
It's as simple as it's the first time in the 11 years at Leeds I was out of contract.
Right.
Every other year with my contract, it was always, let's say I signed a 3-year one to start with, and then I played well during that 3-year one, and then we added 2 more years on, and then another 2 more years on. And then I never got to within the final 2 years of the contract. It kept on being extended and extended and extended until like the final one finally got there, and it got within 12 months, and it was the first opportunity, to explore other clubs. I've been. It always seems to happen after the international series, because I played quite a few years international. I got quite a few inquiries, just one-off phone calls from clubs, or people that representing the club, just saying, "Oh, what are your contracts? What's your contract status?" And I tell them, "Oh, I've got 3 years left on this contract," and they went, "Ah, okay, well, rings in 3 years," and then and that was pretty much the end of that. It never really got further than that. So I had the interest, as in a phone call's worth, but because of my contract status, it was never going to develop into anything else.
That's why Gary Hetherington's good at his job, isn't it? He made sure you're on contract all the time.
100%, and he's a smart man, Gary. He's done it before.
So that period, let's just feature a little bit more on that light bulb moment. You made the decision. Okay, you've processed the injury. By the sounds of that, you've processed that quite quickly and quite well. Kind of fight or flight. Ryan sprung into action. Hasn't he? Thought, right, what can I do? You're very logical. Did you take the emotion out of it and be logical?
I saw it as a challenge. Everyone always sees it as a challenge, but I broke it down into mini challenges. So when I did it before my operation, I was sat in the changing room at Leeds, opposite Liam Sutcliffe, who'd gone through the process himself. I was just asking, obviously, the questions you're asking, is how long did it take you to come back playing? What happened, and all that sort of thing. And he said to me, operation went great. I walked out the day after the operation, no crutches and no brace on my knee. And I thought, because that was the first I heard of, the immediate aftermath of an operation, of what happens. So I was like, oh, brilliant. So in my head, I'm like, well, the day after my operation, I'll walk out with no crutches, with no brace on my knee, and just get on with it. And then the time came to leave hospital, and they brought me a wheelchair, and the pain was unbelievable. I didn't have any crutches. I basically told them, get that wheelchair off. I'm walking out of here, just because someone else had done it. And I told myself that's what I'm doing, even though it's probably sensible to get, in hindsight, it's probably sensible to get back in that wheelchair or after some crutches, because it really, really hurt walking out. But I made myself do it, and that was kind of the attitude I had for every stage of it. So like 2 days later, I was in the physio room at Leeds asking, right, what is the first step that I need to achieve, to progress this thing along? And it was basically just try and achieve full extension in your knee. It wasn't to try and use any muscles or anything. It was just make sure your leg can straighten. So I just sat trying to straighten my knee. And I was asking, like, how long is that normally, in this sort of situation? And the physio just would never give me a straight answer. It would be like, well, everyone's different. Some takes a week, some have it really quickly, some takes a month. I'm like, right, I'm going as fast as I can. Like, as soon as I get that, it's it's going to speed everything up, and then I can ask for the next part of the puzzle. What's the next bit, and everything along that way. I was always asking him, how many days is this going to take for me to do this little tiny bit to move on to the next bit? And it must have been glad that I'm moving clubs, because he would have got sick of me if he lasted me, for 9 months doing the same thing. Because it was like 2 months that I was doing the physio at Leeds until I moved over here. So I reckon he was glad to see it back on me, because I was just asking him, all the time, what's the next bit, what's the next bit. But that's how I attacked it, and that's how I thought, that if I'm going to come back quickly and the best I can, I just need to do it as fast as I could.
That's really interesting. That kind of breaking down what feels like a kind of insurmountable challenge, breaking it down into little things, and it actually becomes manageable. And the only thing I can kind of compare that to is if and when I run a marathon, and that's quite a horrible thought when you set out and do it. I always break it down into kind of, I forget the miles after 20, because I know that that's just your body taking over because it's so hard. So I think, right, I've got 20 miles, I've got 5 little 4 mile bits. So I take it, right, I'm going to run 4 miles, and you get to there, and then you reassess, don't you? And you set yourself little targets as you go in. And it's almost like we're playing tricks on our head a little bit, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, it's even down to when we have to do a conditioning session. We used to go around the park in the hills, and it's mad. Like, everyone's got, because it's going to be hard work. It's mad thinking, speaking to other players and what goes through their head when when they're doing hills. So if you got told you've got 10 hills to do, like, you stand at bottom, instead of just thinking, right, run up 10 times, you break it down into like smaller bits, manageable chunks. So there's people sat at the bottom thinking, right, I've got 3 sets of 3 to accomplish. Then I've just got 1 more after that. It's like, what are you on about? Like, just run up 10 times. Like, but the breaking it down, it just helps you get through it. Because, like, once you achieve that little block, you somehow you get energy repaired back, and it's so right. It's something that everyone does, and it helps.
It does work. So take me. So we've got to Australia, which must have felt really weird when you got there for the first time. Are you able to walk okay by the time you walk into the house?
Oh yeah, I got walking pretty. It was all right. It was only painful for a bit, but then it was everything else. And then I speak to other people from other clubs. Like, it was a bit later on down the line. So it was when we played Wigan. I was in the World Club Challenge. So I was at Roosters training for quite a few months. It was February, so I'd gone back over, and then I saw Joe Burgess and Don Manfredi in the tunnel before the players came out, and both of them were going through the same thing. And I was saying I'm getting pain in the front of my knee, and they both looked at each other and they started laughing, because it's exactly the same for every ACL thing. That's the thing. What's the hardest thing to get over? And that's what I was struggling. It felt like I plateaued for a bit on that, just the pain in the front of my knee. and they were just saying, yeah, that's not, just get on with it. And at that point where they start, right, it's never going to be perfect. I'm going to have pain in my front of my knee. That's fine. Just I've got to figure out how to play with pain in my knee. But it was structurally fine. I was having scans on it, and it was healed. Everything was, strong. And they couldn't, when the physios were trying to twist it and, see if it was going to go, it wasn't budging. So I knew it was strong. So I just had to cope with the, pain. Just put that to one side and get on with it.
Well, you finally got the Sydney shirt on. Was it May, I think? And there must have been.
Might have been.
It's about that time, wasn't it? And I'm sure, and I remember as a young rugby supporter in Leeds, when Leeds used to sign all these overseas players from the NRL, and there was, the thing was, oh, have we signed another Croc? Because it was a guy who come over, and he, I'm thinking of kind of the Brett Mullins era of player. They come over and they'd be great for a bit, and then they get injured. And I'd imagine there must have been something similar going on with the crowd over there. I don't know, but anyway, you got in the team, and you got, I think, 6 games, and then a dislocation. Then was it?
Yeah. So I got back playing, and I got back playing pretty well as well. I think the team, I was going into the team, and the team was realising, what I did, what my style was, and what I could bring to the team. I felt like we complemented each other. My best game was the last game of them 6 games, so I was getting better at each week. And then it was just an accident in training, in a wrestle session. It was my other side, my other knee, my strong knee, let's call it. My kneecap dislocated. It was what Joe Westerman did on the field, and then he had to whack his back in. Yeah, but mine bounced in itself. But mine must have been different to Joe's, because immediately after it went, I had elephantitis in my knee. It just filled up with fluid, and I couldn't bend it. I don't know what happened to Joe's after that. I think he played on, but he must not have swelled up like mine did. But there was no moving mine. So I got it. I kept on having it drained by the doctors. And again, another little competition things. I like, so how much fluid, reckon is going to be in this knee? And they said, a big extraction is about 100 mil. And within the first day or two, it's just blood, because it just bleeds inside. So it's just blood that they extract. So one of the biggest I've seen is about 100 millilitres of blood that they pull out. They were still pulling out at 130, 140, and it got to 150 mil in my knee. So another little record I achieved, the most swelling knee that they've seen. And it seemed to, every time they drained it, it just kept on swelling back up again. That was the sticking point. But the kneecap was in place and all that sort of stuff. All ligaments are strong, but it just kept on filling up with fluid, so it just kept on jamming, and I couldn't do anything on it.
I'm struck by how you take all these setbacks in your stride. I mean, you're laughing as you're telling me, and you talking through the challenges. But I know to a lot of people, this could drive them into quite a dark place. You've made a massive move here, and it must have been part of you thought, this is turning into an absolute disaster.
Oh, there's not a day that I think, what's going on here? I even have a joke again. I'm laughing again, but it was a 3 weeks bit after I signed. It made me think about there must have been something about Leeds where it just kept me in a magical bubble of injury freeness. I reckon it was Gary Everton. I reckon he's got a voodoo doll of me. As soon as I signed away from his club, he slashed it. He started slashing at it until both my knees have gone. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I've been really blessed with injuries throughout my career, and they just happened all at once. But touch wood, that's it now. Hopefully, that's it.
Does that make your mental approach different now if and when we get the NRL back, which is going to be very soon? I know you're fit and you're available. Do you approach it differently when you've had these injuries? Does it play on your mind? Whereas before, when you're injury free, you just have gone full pelt, and it wouldn't have even entered your head that you've got 2 dodgy knees.
Yeah. If you go into a field thinking about an injury, you're never going to be as good as what you need to be. If you go on thinking, oh, I'm carrying a bit of a knock in my knee, I'm going to go a little bit softer, you're never going to achieve what you're going to achieve. So as soon as you get warm, and everything frees up a bit, I don't think about them, because if my knee's not strong enough, it'll give in and it'll go again. But I need to it needs to be strong for me to do what I need to do. So I've just got to trust in it being strong. Yeah. If you think you're going to get injured or you're going to aggravate an injury, you're more than likely are going to do that.
You know, for a moment there, I thought you were just about to say, if you want the rainbow, you've got to put up with the rain.
No, I'd leave that for Dolly Parton.
You've talked a lot. I want to talk in a second about perception and who Ryan Hall is and the perception of Ryan Hall. We're not getting, without trying to get too deep, but you've talked a lot. I'm struck by how you talk about, you learn about yourself by talking to others. You learn about your challenges by talking to others who've gone through the same thing. How close are you with all the other English guys out there? I mean, you just quoted a line from The Office, and I know James Graham's out there, and he loves all that. Do you kind of stick? Have you got a stick together mentality over there?
We kind of like it, as in the English sector doing well in the NRL, and we love it. The guys at Canberra, John Bateman went over last year because he was fresh in the NRL and he killed it. It was great. All lads loved it. An English guy doing, one of his mates doing well in NRL. We've got obviously we've got a WhatsApp group where we chat and see if everyone's all right. But in terms of meeting up, especially at the current climate, we can't really meet up. And Australia's pretty big for us to meet up. For me to meet up with Canberra lads, I'd have to travel 3 hours. So and we've all got us little bits going on, like every now and then. We might have an opportunity to meet up, but my daughter's got a dance recital to do, or anything like that. It's family gets in the way sometimes as well. But when we all really we met up in the England camp, when we had the Nines tournament and the GB, so it was good to see everyone there.
So let me talk a bit about perception. What do you think the perception of you is from other people? What if I asked someone what's Ryan Hall like, what do you think they would say?
Pretty dull. I reckon. Well, I'm pretty much right as well. I remember doing a couple of years back at Leeds, doing like not a media course, but how to talk to cameras, bit of a to get better in front of a camera basically. And the guy who was running it was going along, saying, "Oh, what do you want to get better at?" And I straight away I knew what I didn't like, and I didn't like how I sound because I sound monotone. I don't like how my voice sounds when I'm speaking to the camera. It's not about I don't mind what I say, that the topics and the content that's what I say. It's the sound that comes along with it. It's just a monotone, deep drone, what people get bored at. And the guy says, "Well, if that's your voice, you can't change it." So I thought, "Oh, well, okay, fair enough." And that's what I've just stuck with. He's got boring, monotone, dull drone.
So you say that's what people are, and it's probably right. Is it really though? Or is that just a persona that has just happened and you've kind of gone along with it?
I don't know. It just, every time I go in front of the camera, just the dullness, the same monotone comes out. Like I say, I've not got a problem with the content that I say. I can think of vary that up, quite well. But it's just, the dullness comes from the sound. Even Rob Burrow used to do a great impression of me. He just used to go, just like move his lip like that, and that's pretty much how I sound. But if that's how people view me, that's fine. I'm really, really not bothered what people think, to be honest. But I used to play with blonde hair, right?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not bothered what people think, and I think that's a good way to be as well. Why should I worry about if someone else doesn't like something I do?
No, I mean I completely agree. It goes back to character is what you are, reputation is what some others say you are. Yeah. But on the flip side of that, you say you're not bothered. You must have been bothered enough to ask that guy at the media training to try and make you better.
Well, it was just all about improvement, because I knew, like, at that point, I had no idea what I was going to do post rugby, and I thought, a chance in the media, or because a couple of players I've gone over and gone in front of the camera. Jamie Jones is brilliant at it. And I've always tried to learn stuff from him, because and I think he's just built for it. And some people are built for it, and some people aren't, and he's certainly got a future in that. So I tried to explore that a little bit. So I just thought that the only way I'm going to be able to get into it is by not being dull and monotone. Because you're not going to be in front of a camera or any sort of presenter with that sort of voice. So I just tried to see if there was something that you could do, or something I was doing wrong. I could think of it a different way, but never mind.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're kind of different to a lot of the other rugby players? Certainly your path into the sport was different, wasn't it? It was an accounting degree, and then suddenly you started playing rugby while you were doing it.
Yeah, that's almost right.
Tell me. Because again, that's my perception of you, and maybe I've got it wrong.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have an accounting degree. I was just good at maths at school. That was basically it. That's the fundamental, like the bottom line of it. I was just good at maths. So along with that comes, people's perception of, oh, he's good at maths academically. He must be smart. So that was it. I was labelled a smart guy, even though I'm not actually particularly that smart. I've got no common sense. I was just good at numbers. So I just kept on going along with it. If people says, "Oh, you're that smart guy," I just go, "No, okay, yeah, I'm that guy," and that's just how it was. And at the time, coming into the team, I was very much alone in that area of good at maths. There wasn't many other people in the same sort of type as me. So then I was the odd one. So I wasn't going to start arguing with people and saying, "No, I'm not different." I just thought, yeah, whatever. I'm that guy. If you want to label me as that guy, that's fine. And that's where that's what it's been all along. If like whatever people want to think of me, I let them think. And then I'm not going to try and change their opinion by explaining. No, I'm not actually that guy. I just thought, yeah, okay, whatever.
But
yeah. So how I got into rugby was I was playing amateur because I loved it. I was a late developer, as growing wise and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of missed the fishing net that goes out, the scouting fishing net, where people about 15, get signed up to scholarships and professional clubs. I missed all that sort of thing, and I was just playing because I loved playing. Carried on when I was 17. I played in the open age team at Alton, and then Leeds came down and watched me again, and then because obviously I'd grown up and caught up a little bit then they signed me, and that's how I got into the sport. It was relatively late compared to everyone else, but I was just a different path in.
That I was struck by a lot of that, because you're obviously aware of that the persona is something someone else has created for you, but it's just kind of easy to go along with it. And I've had something very similar in my career. I'm kind of like, the jokey guy on the radio and telling you, like, he's a bit gobby and, he's working class and he loves a pint. And, I'm actually, just a shy bloke who has a French literature degree and he's really bad at making friends. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Actually, that's me. But if you want to think that's me, that's quite, that's an easy role for me to play. And that's kind of what I did on the radio. Yeah, if you believe that, I'll go along with it.
Yeah.
But is there not an element of us where actually we should think, no, this is me? Why don't we? I'm battling with myself a bit. Why don't we tell people who we really are? I don't know.
Well, I know. Well, I'm not very confrontational, right. So I don't want to start arguing with people. Saying you've got me wrong. Yeah, it's fine. I don't need to create an argument. I'll just get on. It's just an easier route, just to give them a thumbs up and say, okay.
But I know that that role of being the maths geek. I've seen videos that Leeds have got you doing like little Pythagoras stuff on a blackboard. I can imagine you've been asked stuff to do that. And I know when you do an interview and someone chucks you a Rubik's Cube and says, "Can you do this?" You must think, "Oh, not again, come on."
Yeah, well, they did it last year in the change rooms. So after one of the games on TV, they interviewed me in the change room and they had a Rubik's Cube in the pocket. And I just thought, I've done this a million times for a camera, but some people in Australia watching this might not have done it. So you do it like the first time you've done it before. So it's like, so you just put that on a little bit, because there's someone out there who probably hasn't seen you do it. So, you just got to do it. And that one person who hasn't seen you do it before might really get inspired by it or whatever. If a Rubik's Cube can be, I keep looking down here because I've got them next to my bed. so I've got that one there. And I've got my four-sided one there. So I keep looking down there. But yeah, so someone might, take a little bit from it. So I've always got to do it with the spring step, and even though I think I've done it before, someone might not see me do it before. So,
do you think we'll ever get to know the real Ryan Hall, or are we just going to run with this one because you're not actually that bothered?
I think no, yeah. This is what you see is what you get. I've got Rubik's cubes next to my bed. That's pretty much all you need to know. Yeah, I think I am that geek. I think I'm that nerdy guy.
I genuinely think that you are a little bit, but I think you just play it because it's what people expect.
Yeah, and the Pythagoras things as well. I just ran with it, and then that was my idea. that was my idea. And then a couple of times, obviously it's not on video, but when we're doing pre-season, and the coach at Leeds was, they said, he just wanted people to get up and speak to the group, just to, bear all basically, get up, and some people get up and told them a life story. Some people just got up and told a funny story. When I got up and proved stuff using maths. I showed them Pythagoras and I was laughing internally because I knew that no one else would understand it. And I was basically talking to myself, and I was just spending the 20 minutes, speaking to the group, just like everyone's looking blankly at me. It was I had like an internal joke to myself there.
So, I mean, to wrap up the perception bit, it's down to us as individuals whether or not we're affected by how we're viewed, and you are clearly couldn't give a damn about what people think about you.
Yeah, I know, no, not at all. At school, probably all started from school, like from secondary school. I was always musical, and then you've got groups of friends, who you tend to, have most things in common. But the group of friends that I hung around with majority of the time, had no interest in music at all. So from year 7 onwards, I was in all the stage musicals in the band. So I went on tours around Europe with the school in the band, doing we did the jazz band and the stage band, and I was part of that. And none of my friends could understand why I did it. It was just because they enjoyed it. So like I say, I couldn't give a monkey's what other people think, because I enjoyed doing it. Yeah, I'll enjoy doing it.
I'm wrestling a little bit with how, I mean, you've come across during this podcast kind of so laid back, and how much you take everything in your stride and you don't get worked up, you don't suffer anxiety or fear even when presented with it. Yet, your list of achievements is phenomenal. How you become such a champion competitor, and if I was going to say if you don't care, you clearly care, but you know what I mean. If you've got to hate the bad stuff and hate the losing to drive towards the success. I'm just wondering how you've managed that. Does that make sense, that question?
Yeah. I don't know how to answer. When I was, if coming down to the fact of playing, and how I played, and why I kept on going, it was because other people around me. It was I never wanted to let anyone down, so that's why I did. That's why I played how I played and did what I did, because I'd always look at other people, because I'm a winger. I effectively do less than everyone else on the field. Then I look at the likes of Cameron Sinfield and Jimmy Peacock when they used to play. JP used to look like, well, you've seen pictures of him. After 80 minutes, he'd be exhausted. And I was thinking, like, well, I've got to do my bit as well. I've got to at least, do something, and best I can because if he's willing to do that to his body, for this team, I've got to do something similar as well. And it was always like I always viewed, and there were various people that I always focused on. But when Kev used to get targeted and try and need in the head and stuff like that, I always thought, well, if he's willing to put his body there, get up again, I've got to carry on. And for years, that's what I always thought, because I was younger than them as well. I always thought that was easy to do. It changed a bit when they're all retired, because there's no one there. In 16 when it all went peaked on, the people that I kind of looked up to like that had all gone. It came around in glimpses, when you see Jonesy was still there, Magsy and Rob was still there. But yeah, the little bit went away when the big three retired. But so I had to refocus a bit and design myself, which came good in 2017. And that's what I've been running with ever since.
I think what I was getting at in the question, I remember when I used to work on the World Snooker circuit a lot, because I'm a snooker geek. I absolutely love it. A lot of people think, what are you on about? And I remember one of the first interviews I ever did was with Stephen Hendry. This is probably going back to 2004 when he was still playing, but he was still a champion, but he was on the wane, and it was really, really, really getting to him because he knew how he wanted to compete, but he couldn't quite do it. And I'd never interviewed him before, and all the other journalists knew what he was like, and he'd just been beat by someone he should have beaten. So they knew he wasn't going to say much. And I was like, I piled in all enthusiastic. I tried to interview him, and the entire interview, including about 6 questions from me, lasted 40 seconds because he was fuming. He was absolutely fuming. And I thought about that. I thought, well, that's how he's won 7 world titles and that was a little round 1 match at a small event at the Guildhall in Preston, and he was fuming. And that just meant that's that drive. That's the drive of the champion. And I'm not saying you don't have that, but it's just like I can't see you being that riled up by anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't really, to be honest. Now, it was my determination came from somewhere else. It wasn't the fear of losing. It was nothing like that. I think Brian McLennan might have had something to do with that because he described it really well in 2008. He said it works out the same thing, and I've actually stuck with this all the way through. But there's 2 ways to look at it. You can either fear losing or love winning. He said the power of love is stronger than the drive of fear. So I've always tried to think of the things that can have either a negative side or a positive side. I've always tried to go on the positive side of things, even down to the little bits. When you do a deep yardage kick and you try to tackle them down in there, close to their try line, a lot of teams always offside, because they're too eager. They get off the line too quickly. Because and they give away penalties, which just deflates all the pressure straight away. So a lot of people, you hear them, coaches as well, saying, "Don't be offside here." I says, well, that's not the right way to look at it. Do be onside. So I'd always yell from the wing, "Be onside," rather than "Don't be offside," because that puts the fear into. So there's 2 ways to look at things. I always like to go with the positive side of things, and that's my little battle that I have in my head. When I hear someone, in a distant conversation having one of them moments where they're saying stuff like that, I always think to myself, why are they saying that? Why do they say it the positive way? Like if someone passes a ball and say, "Don't drop it," you're more likely to drop it. Say, "Catch it," and then you'll catch it.
Well, what I bet you don't say that back to them because you're just thinking that internally and going with the flow, aren't you?
No, well, from the wing, you can kind of shout instructions a bit. So I do yell out, "Don't be off." I do yell out, "Be onside." As best I can. So there's moments I can do it, and some moments I can't. But a lot of it's in reviews and previews on video sessions as well. I'll always, when players speak a bit, that's when I'll try and use the positive side of things.
We've been talking for ages, so I'm going to wrap it up in a sec. But how does the next year or so pan out for you? What's your have you set yourself
end of this season?
Well, don't know. Tell me.
Well, the coronavirus thing's absolutely messed everything up because I'm in my last year of a contract here. I was hoping to get on the field and have a really good, impressive year playing to see where I'll go next year. But because it's the world's ground to a stop, I've no idea what's going to happen. So I've just got to. Well, the season starts on Friday. I can only do what I can do, and try and create my own path from there.
But does that give you any worry?
But everyone's at the same boat at the moment because it's not just me who's gone down that path. The whole sporting world stopped, and there's quite a lot of players, on the last year of the contract, all over the world. So they'll be in exactly the same boat as me. So you're just trying to, play the best stand you can do with the cards you dealt.
Just a couple of final thoughts then. as one of the kind of the English group who've gone and played, and there has been an increasing number in recent years who've given it a go in the NRL with varying degrees of success. We've got superstars over there now. We've got guys who've come over and come back. Why do you think some succeed and some don't? And is there an element? And I go back to, if you'd have gone instead to a local club in Super League, because there isn't all that upheaval. Is there an element of kind of getting the mental fitness and the mental equilibrium right to make that huge move across the world as well, to allow yourself to play the best on the pitch? Is the part of that why some people succeed and some people don't?
I don't think there will ever be a formula for so you can categorize people and say, oh, this person will succeed over there and this person won't succeed, because it's completely down to the timing of things. Like even the 6 games that I played, I know it's not a great deal of games, but I felt every bit as a good player over here when I played them 6 games as I did do in Super League. And the people, when I played them 6 games, people I think thought of me as a good NRL player as well. Whilst I played them, it's just because of the timing of things, I've just not been able to play more, and it's probably when my time's up, because of the injuries I've had, the timing of things, it's probably going to be viewed upon as a bit of a failure. It's like many more before me, and I'm sure many more will do after I go as well. But that's just like I say, there's never going to be a formula about who will do well and who won't do, because it's just all down to the moments like that.
But it's not, it's not a failure yet, and it might not be a failure. And the fact that
yes, that's completely true. It's if the world ended tomorrow, it might go down as a failure because I put it down to the amount of games I've played. I know the team actually won. My team actually won the grand final when I was here, which can be viewed as a success, and I kind of contributed, my little part along the way. But some people might be saying it's a bit of a failure. But like you say, there's a lot of games to be played yet until my time's up. So hopefully I can do it credit when I do get to play.
So, quick final thought then to any player. I was going to say young player. It doesn't have to be young player in rugby league, in British rugby league, who might have that dream of completely changing their life by going to the other side of the world. Not only challenging themselves professionally, but personally with that move, and I guess challenging homesickness and all those kind of emotions. That huge life-changing decision that you kind of took in your stride. What would be your advice to anyone wrestling with that thought in their own head?
Well, yeah, go for it. I don't want to say everyone in Super League get yourself over to NRL, because that's not what I'm saying. But if a particular person's got the will, if they dream about playing NRL and saying if that's what we want to do, yeah, go for it. What's going to hold you back? The only thing is yourself. You just go and do it. If that's if that person's teammate has got a dream of playing Super League, stay in Super League. Yeah, have a go at that. Do your best you can at that. You just make a decision, stick to it, and if that's what you feel like doing, go and do it. Don't mince around, because your time will go. You've only got one probably opportunity. Your career's pretty short. Just make the best of it you can. No matter what other people think might be a good move and be a bad move, it's what you're gonna want to do. The best. It's that tipping scale. If you want to be successful, or it's not saying that you can't be successful wherever you go, but just go for it.
It's been great chatting to you, Ryan. Thank you for joining us. And the Rugby League United podcast will be back next week.